Okay, I'm really curious about something. There was an incident that you had reported where you were you had a cheek of a female Sasquatch against your cheek, and you're holding the finger. And I'm really interested in that story. Could you tell me that story?
Yeah,
and then I'm going to interrupt you with questions.
Okay. All right. So I was in Idaho with a group of close friends, and we spent 3 nights up there. And I was in a big canvas elk hunting tent that my buddy Jim had set up. And so one night, I'm at the back of the tent on a cot, and he's toward the front on the side on the cot. And so this night, I was having this really super deep, multi-layered dream, like a dream within a dream, and I knew something was going on, or I felt really weird and wavy. Well, in the dream I was having, I was writing my DNA, and I was just like a roller coaster. And I don't know, I kind of felt like maybe my head was buzzing or something. I just felt really weird. And I wanted to wake up and find out what was going on. And so I tried to it was sort of like sleep paralysis at the same time. So I tried to must wake up, like Captain Kirk or Spock or somebody, must fight through anyway, so I start becoming more aware of what's going on, and I could feel something really, really soft on my left cheek. And then I had reached out, and somebody was comforting me, like petting my hair, my head, like, don't worry, Jeff, everything's gonna be okay. Everything's okay, don't worry, you're fine. And then I put my hand out like this, and I ended up grabbing onto a finger. It was a ring finger on a left hand, but that finger probably stuck out about that far. And then we went like this and held hands for a bit. And the whole time, this other hand is still stroking me, trying to comfort me and calm me down. And I'm coming to, and I still feel something soft on my cheek. And I was like, man, I gotta find out what this is. So I pull my head back, and it was the face of a female Sasquatch. I can see the side of her head.
You said dream within a dream. At this point, are you awake, or are you awake from the second level dream?
Well, I thought I was fully awake.
Okay.
But because I kind of went through a couple layers of trying to wake up. Didn't take very long to come out of it. Well, maybe I was struggling for a while longer than I thought I was to try to get conscious again. But I could actually feel the presence. I mean, I felt something soft to begin with, but then after I kind of woke up all the way, it was like, okay, there's definitely something on my cheek, and really soft. I pulled my head away, and it was kind of looked like Arla Williams from the side. You don't know Arla Williams? No. Anyway, she's a famous Sasquatch gal.
Oh.
So,
edit that out.
Yeah. You don't know who Arla Williams is.
So,
kind of looked like this girl here.
I'm super curious. Was the cheek warm?
I remember it being soft. I don't remember warmth, but.
Okay, so no noticeable heat being generated.
I don't remember anything like that.
Do you remember what the finger felt like? Was it smooth, coarse? Did it seem like working hands, or did it seem?
Just seemed like a regular finger, but about that long. Because when I held onto it, it probably stuck out about that far.
Okay.
And then we interlocked our hands, and it was a bigger hand than mine, but it felt like a female. It wasn't Jim. Guarantee you that. Not that I've ever held his hand, but
I've been refraining from making
that's
jokes.
the whole purpose of this line of questioning is you held hands with a boy.
No, I was gonna be like, are you sure it was a finger? Because you were like,
None of this is getting edited.
sorry.
Okay, so you pull your head back and you look and you see the face of a female Sasquatch.
Well, I see the side.
The side of the face
side.
of a female Sasquatch.
Yeah.
And so then what happened?
And so I pulled my head back and I saw it, and then bam, I was out again.
Out again.
I was out until the morning.
Now, so do you have Do you have idea? I'm sure that you do. Do you have ideas? Because that seems like something that you're not going back to sleep after. Do you have ideas about why you went directly back out?
I think whoever was there, I think there was more than one being there. There was a female comforting me, and I think there was a male there brain scanning me. If I have to try to explain it. And then, and yeah. So
Can you describe the brain scan? Like what gives you that impression, or what you felt,
yeah.
or what was
Well,
happening?
like I said, I could see myself writing my DNA. I could see my DNA. I think it was like purplish, greenish, something like that. But I could also feel like a buzzing, and I felt like I was buzzing at the same time. And that's really all I can say about that.
Okay. Without leading the witness, I've heard you I've heard you say before something about combing, like combing through.
Combing through my brain?
Yeah.
Did I say that? I don't know about combing through my brain or whatever, but I could just feel like a vibration, like something was in my head or whatever.
Okay.
So then, if you want to fast forward a few years, my friend Sam and I went to my little spot that I call Camp Broken Arrow, and he was in his Toyota, I was in my Toyota, and we slept with our windows cracked a little ways, and we were, I don't know, maybe 20 feet away from each other where we parked, and I was actually in my Ford F-150, and I was sleeping in the back seat, and same thing. All of a sudden, I had like this sleep paralysis, and I felt like I was being brain scanned. I felt the vibration. I didn't really see the DNA stuff, but I was trying to say something out loud, and I couldn't even talk. I couldn't even really put a thought out. I was being blocked completely by trying to complete a thought or say something, and I did the same thing. I must fight through this. I gotta wake up. I want to know what's out there. And I really felt the heavy presence of a male standing outside my truck. And I finally was able to blurt something out, and what came out is this: "I love you." and I was like, and then I was like completely awake, and then I instantly heard in my head, mind speak, "I have done this once before, but now I must go." And in my mind, something left, and I, bam, was out like a light again.
Wow. And when you woke up, did you feel like you'd been through something, or were you just?
I woke up, and it was like just like my other incident in Idaho. Woke up the next day, didn't even really think about it. It never entered my mind. And then after getting coffee and stuff, it's like, oh crap! I remembered what happened last night. You got to hear this. So I told Sam about it, and he told me that he actually heard a vibrational sound coming from over by my truck. He could hear it. So there's some kind of validation there, I think.
Did you guys look for prints at all? Or
Oh yeah. There's nothing.
Nothing?
No, nothing.
Well, that's good that you had the mind to look for prints, because so many, and ourselves included, after that,
Yeah.
it skips your mind, and you think that'd be the first thing on your mind, and it's just not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything weird with the truck? Any weird electrical stuff? Anything drained? Dead batteries? Anything like that?
Nope.
The strong presence of a male outside your vehicle. Did you get a visual image of that, or was it more just a feeling?
It was more of a feeling or a sense. I didn't get a vision or anything like that.
Okay, but you did. I'm assuming that the feeling you were getting of a male outside your truck is you were not getting a feeling of a human male outside your truck.
Correct.
Okay. Can you? I'm trying to think how I would get you to describe that. What was your sense? Were you afraid of it, or were you?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
No, not at all. In fact, I was.
Was it familiar to you?
Yeah, I think it was the same male that was at the Idaho camp. Because in my mind, it did say, in my mind, I have done this once before, but now I must go.
And this was 3 years later?
3 or 4 years later, yeah.
At the Idaho camp, did you have any fear of the male that you think was there?
No. No, because in Idaho, all 3 nights that I spent in that tent, so the first night, everyone's asleep in their tents. Jim and I are in one tent together. And everyone's out cold, everyone's in bed sleeping. I hear this crash in the woods, like a train just rolling through the woods. And it woke me up. And I heard something walk up to the edge of the tent. And it stood there. And I sat up in my cot. And I'm like, I could hear this thing breathing right next to me, like that close to me. And you could hear it breathing, like the breath was coming from like 10 feet up. And you could, the inhale and exhale took so long. And I'm like, oh, they're here. And then I heard the little pitter patter of little feet go down the gravel road and go into our camp. And then you hear like our equipment and our coolers lids being opened and closed and pans being played with. And then whatever the big guy behind me walked around the tent that way into the camp. That happened 3 nights in a row where it walked up to me. I didn't hear the crashing the second night, the second and third night, but every night I woke up, I heard it walk up to my tent, and I sat up. Oh, they're here. Okay. Well, I better lay back down, and then the little ones run in, the big guy walks out like that, and then out cold again, dead asleep.
And the third night is when you had the hand holding experience, or the fourth night?
Well, I was only there 3 nights.
3 nights.
So I can't remember if that was I can't remember which night it was. I think I have it written down somewhere, but
Okay.
anyway.
So we had a strange experience, and Ben was about 3 years old, so I'm assuming it was about 2009. And we were in the east side of Mount St. Helens, and we were in the middle of nowhere. I mean, we were down a Forest Service road, and in the middle of the night, and we had a pit bull that did not like other animals. I mean, like, he'd go chase after him, you know. So Barrett, our pit bull, he's just sleeping by the fire. We got Ben and our oldest girl, Erica, in the Suburban. They wanted to keep Ben contained, you know, have him locked. But and then we had the other kids in their own tents, and me and Steve were in our tent. And something on 2 legs comes running. I mean, we're like in a cul-de-sac. We have a canyon to the.
So it's
A landing.
it's a dead end landing.
Yeah.
Over. It's straight down.
Sure.
I mean, not straight down, but certainly if you tried to hike down it, you're going to get hurt.
Yeah. And we're probably a couple miles down this Forest Service road, and you can hear cars miles away. So
The Spirit Lake Highway that goes around Mount St. Helens, if there's a car on that road, you can hear it for minutes and minutes before, and you'll never see it,
right.
but you can hear it because it's just,
So curious.
there's nothing there. It's just
But,
wilderness.
something on 2 legs. I mean, you can tell when something's on 2 legs or 4, but it's like midnight. It's very late. No lights anywhere. Comes running down from the top of that road down into our camp.
And so where it's running from is deeper in the woods, not from the road.
Okay.
It's running from, if you take that road, we would hike that road because it gets really treacherous and you can't really drive down it very far. And we would hike that road and it goes deeper and deeper and deeper as far as you want to go. I believe it goes, is that Adams? It goes so far back into the wilderness that, I mean, you pop out in a different place.
Right.
And so it was coming from deeper in the woods, running on 2 legs.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we hear it, and it comes straight to our tent. And it's like,
It wasn't like it happened upon our tent. It's like our tent was its destination.
yes.
It was coming to
Yes.
us. It did not divert. It wasn't sniffing around.
And it was
beeline.
heavy. It was heavy. Whatever. And I'm like,
Also, you can fire a cannon off in the tent with me, and I won't wake up. But this woke me up.
Well, yeah.
I'm a pretty heavy
like,
sleeper.
yeah. And I'm like trying to get the words out. I got them out, but I'm like, who's out there?
Yeah.
Not like it's gonna answer, but I had to say something. And then it walks around our tent. I'm just like, oh my God. and then it takes off into the canyon,
Down that steep.
into the steep canyon.
Like
yeah.
running or
Yeah.
walking?
Yeah, running. And then, like 2 minutes later, here comes our pit. He's like
Sniffing around.
sniffing around our
We didn't
tent.
hear a peep out of that tough guy.
Yeah.
And had it been a deer or an elk, he
Yeah.
never tires of chasing them.
Yeah.
Ever. Like he would take off after a deer and be like, well, we're never going to see our dog again. You know?
Yeah.
And so and then we're like, well, maybe it was a runner. And we're like, yeah, sure, it was just a runner in the woods at night in the middle of nowhere with no flashlight. And also a runner came through our camp and our pit bull who doesn't like people or animals.
Yeah, but the energy thing. The reason why I started talking about this is because, like, we forgot to look for prints in the morning. Like,
Yeah.
it was gone from our memory. It was
We,
like,
we remembered that it happened, but we were like, oh man, that was crazy. Let's get out of here. And we didn't look for footprints. And then we packed everything up,
Yeah.
and that was the one and only time our Suburban had dead battery.
Oh.
yeah.
Never happened before, never happened after. I didn't even change the batteries; they were fine. But the battery was dead.
Weird.
And so you go through the things of, well, the kids were sleeping in, maybe they left a dome light. Well, they didn't.
Yeah.
You know, and also I don't think a dome light would drain the battery overnight. In that, you know.
Yeah.
Well, how long do you think it was in your camp? Walking around.
2 minutes?
Yeah, I was gonna say 2
Wow.
minutes.
Okay.
Less than 2 minutes. We heard it coming. You could hear it coming. So like, I mean, it's when you get there's camping in the wilderness, and then there's going into the deep wilderness where you can hear things very far away, especially something on gravel that makes that crunching sound.
Yeah.
And we could hear it coming for quite a ways.
Yeah.
And obviously longer than what we think, because we heard it coming and that woke us up. So it was already, we were hearing it and then we woke up, so I don't know how long before that. So,
Yeah.
and that was, we were not Bigfooters. We were not, I had not seen one, she had not seen one. Her dad was always a Bigfooter, and honestly, we were just tired of hearing the stories, the same stories over and over and over and over.
Need some new ones, some fresh ones.
Yeah.
You know, can it, Rusty? Your story's getting old, you know. And we didn't know that from this landing, that valley, the meadow down below us, down there, was Skookum Meadows.
Oh.
And we didn't
Yeah.
know that was Skookum Meadows. And if you told us it was Skookum Meadows, that didn't mean anything.
Yeah.
to us. We didn't know anything about it.
Sure.
But we had this area. The reason we went there is there was always weird stuff that happened there. Even the regular wildlife acted different than it did in other places. Me and my daughter went for a morning hike. Everybody else wanted to sleep in. I told her we'd go for a hike in the morning. 12 beers later, I'm like, okay, yes, we'll go for a hike in the morning. So we get up and we go for a hike in the morning down this road that goes further into the wilderness, and we get a bluff charge from a bull elk.
Oh, wow.
I've never, dude, I have been dangerously close to elk, and I've never had that happen.
Yeah.
And the thing is we can only see part of the elk because it's in the bushes, and it's, you know, we never see the whole elk, but I know that it's an elk.
Oh, wow.
We saw other elk, and we can tell that it's an elk. We had the scariest event of our lives there is we heard
Oh
this
my God.
rumbling that was so all-encompassing loud, and we thought, is Mount St. Helens erupting? What is happening here?
Yeah.
And this
Oops.
fighter jet goes over the top of our camp, like that high off the trees. The trees are,
Oh my gosh.
and we
All 5 of our kids are like starting to cry, and then I'm like, I thought it was
don't know what it
exploding
is.
too, you know?
I don't know what it is, you know, but it's all encompassing, and it's
Right.
the loudest sound I've ever heard, and all of a
Oh,
sudden
yeah.
it's just right over the top of
Yeah.
us. And there was just always weird stuff there, and so that's why we went there, because we were like, that's kind of neat. We always have some sort of experience. We had found a footprint there after this whole thing. We found a footprint, but it was like probably like a size 9 or 10.
It wasn't that big. It was,
Going up the side of this, up the side of this thing, and we're like, I put my foot next to it, and we're like, oh no, that's human size. It's like a size 9. And then we were like, we went about our day, and
wait, why was it going up the side of the
No,
mountain?
we drove home. We were done camping. We drove home,
Yeah.
and then we got in the living room. And we went, why is somebody barefoot climbing up the side of a mountain?
Yeah.
We got in our rig and went back
Oh wow.
to the campsite, and this is a couple hour drive away.
Wow.
We went back, and it was nighttime by the time we got there, and we started like looking, and we found more
Yeah.
in this area, and the I lost my train of thought, but it didn't dawn on us until we had gotten back
Yeah.
home that that's not normal.
Yeah.
That's wait a minute, there's something wrong here. You know?
That happens a lot.
Yeah.
It's like, why didn't we stop
Yeah.
and look at this, or what, you know?
I was gonna say, even with the drumming, like it
Yeah.
wasn't until it happened like on, I think, a Sunday or something. It was a weekend day, and then I went back to work and you went home, like went our separate ways, and then like midweek or late week I was like, that was crazy. Like it
Yeah.
hit me later, or both of us realized,
Yeah.
like, wait a second, that wasn't.
Yeah, I think I sent you a text like,
Yeah.
wasn't that really weird what happened?
Yeah.
Drumming in the woods? And
Yeah.
she was like, I forgot that happened.
Yeah, and I was like, how did that even escape my
Yeah.
mind, or that I didn't take it as like seriously or as
Yeah.
big of a deal?
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, I gotta share this with like
Yeah.
Jill and Tobe for the live, or you know, like,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, this is a huge.
I think the next time we saw each other was like, how come we don't realize or aren't
Yeah.
thinking that this is freaking huge?
Right.
Yeah.
Moment. I
Yeah.
think that's super common.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, things like for me are like, okay, yeah, that shit happens all the time.
Yeah,
No big
weird
deal.
stuff is
Yeah.
that weird.
So when we were talking to Simeon Hine,
Mm-hmm.
Steve was like, yeah, so Simeon was talking about how it, the dark matter and it can drain
So
the energy.
this event was in like 2008, 2007.
Yeah, well, so Ben was, okay, he was born in 2006, so he was like maybe 3? I think he was 3. So I'm thinking 2009 is when this happened.
No, because it was before I ever saw Bigfoot, and I saw it in 2008.
Okay, well,
I had never
maybe
seen
Ben was 2.
I was
So
thinking.
maybe,
Yeah.
it was,
I think it was 2007. Anyway, significant long time ago.
it could be 2000, it could be 2008 and Ben be 2.5 years old because he was born in January.
Okay.
So, summer of 2008. There we go. We got it.
We got it. Yeah, it would have been the summer. Okay, summer of 2008, and then we were at Strange Days this last September, and never put together that was the time we had the dead battery until
wow.
Simeon Hine said it,
Whoa.
Yeah.
and I went, oh,
But because we didn't
Yeah.
know about
Uh-huh.
the, I mean, we knew that we had weird experiences, as in like couldn't remember things, and that like the brain fog about
Yeah.
the encounter. And I just thought, like it's something that like a trauma, like something you can't understand, or so your mind does things to help you, you know.
Yeah.
So and then when he was explaining the energy of and then we were like, holy shit, yeah, we had a dead battery that morning, and like it just kind of,
Yeah. Clicked.
clicked, brought everything together. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
It's taken me a year before to like, oh my gosh, when a certain event happened, there was something that went along with it. It took a year to process it
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and fully like realize it really happened, you know?
The other thing we do is we have a tendency to the phenomenon will happen and we'll laugh about it almost as though it wasn't real. And I'll give you, for instance, that we were all there for. We were laughing all night about her phone draining and then all of her pictures being blurry when we were recording the knocks in the woods.
Yeah.
And then we were like, wait a minute, this is what's happening.
right,
Right.
You know, there's, even though we're saying exactly what happened, it's not, and we're saying it,
Yeah.
and it's not getting through that.
Yeah.
It just happened to us, right?
Yeah, you don't
So
always
it's-
like connect the dots or think that things are connected at all, and then it's like, well, wait a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, apparently I wanted you to film it and not me.
Well, you guys are a tuning fork. It takes both sides. Right?
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
I just can't.
I'll text.
It's okay. We'll edit you out.
Okay.
For real.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know if you have
Should I stop it?
Sure.
Okay.